So we have y, hang on, let me do this so that we have the actual thing here. Y is greater than negative 4x plus 5 halves. That's that guy. Greater than, so you look at where it is on the y-axis here, and where does it go above it? Well, that's this side of the graph. So that's what we're going to graph for this one. We're going to graph everything on this side. All right. And then the next one, what's he look like? He is y is less than or equal to negative 1/2 x minus 3 halves. So we have 3 halves right here. All right. And then down 1 over 2. Solid or dash for this guy.
Wait, did you just go down a half?
Yeah, I went on a half, sorry. There we go. That's why I don't like doing on the half. I like crosshairs better, but that's okay. All right, so he's solid. On the crosshairs, random facts that we learn. All right, above this guy, so the wedge actually, above is actually all of this right here, but the wedge where you actually have your answer is actually going to be this part right here.
Wait, what? It's less than.
Yeah.
Oh, it's less than, sorry. Well then, it's this wedge.
Okay, I was like, wait a second.
So it would normally include all of this, but for the answer, it's this wedge right here.
It just goes on?
Yeah, it goes on infinitely technically down there. Why do we keep doing fractional?
I don't know.
It's annoying. All right, so, yeah. So we have 1/4. He's like right here, okay? And up 3, so 1, 2, 3 over 4.
-1.
Is it a negative? I can't see anymore on mine. Oh, sorry. He went underneath my little trap there, so all my little pieces are blocking him. Negative 1/4, thank you. All right, so 1, 2, 3 over 4. Yeah, all right, and then we are going to do a dashed line above or below it. Yeah, it's dashed, right? Well, he moved a little, but that's okay. Dashed line, above or below?
That's what all my girls
Below.
My dots never touched the line.
All right.
Literally ever. I'm like, well.
My ruler moved.
I have this like tiny.
All right, and then this is absolute value. So how is this absolute value moving? Left or right or up or down? All right, so down 3. And then that 2 in front just represents my slope there. So down 3, and then I'm going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, like that. That's my slope. This is also dashed, by the way, because it is just greater than. And you're actually going to have this enclosed picture for this one.
Oh, that was kind of funny.
Because this is going to be everything above it, which is just inside the V. And when you graph inside the V that overlaps underneath the line, you actually end up getting just this piece right here. First, it says a small company has 5 3-ton trucks and 4 5-ton trucks for hauling gravel. Only 7 crews are available at any one time to operate the trucks. How many of each kind of truck should be used to haul the maximum amount of gravel per trip? They gave you the objective function, but had they not, they just said they want to maximize gravel, all right? The 3 tons is how much gravel that one can do, and the 5 tons is how much the other one can do. So they actually set it up for you a little bit. Let X be the number of 3-ton, let Y be the number of 5-ton. All right, so the objective is 3X plus 5Y, maximizing that. So we're going to find that, we're going to set it aside. What are some limitations? Well, they only have 5 3-ton trucks. So which variable was the 3-ton? X. So X has to be less than or equal to 5 because that's all they have. For the 5-ton trucks, which is our Y, how many of those do they have? 4. So Y has to be less than or equal to 4. All right. And then they have a limitation on crews. So each truck is going to have a crew, right? The combination of those trucks can't be more than what? 7. So we're going to say X plus Y has to be less than or equal to 7. Right? So we're going to graph those. For the x plus y is less than or equal to 7, your intercepts here both will be 7. So we have an x-intercept at 7, and we have a y-intercept at 7, right? And that is going to be right here. Less than or equal to 7. The other two are vertical and horizontal lines, right? We have a vertical line at 5 for the less than or equal to 5 for x, right? So that's a vertical line right here. All right, and then we have a horizontal line at 4 for the y is less than or equal to 4. All right, and so it is actually less than every one of these lines. Less than every one of these lines here. So my shaded area is this guy right here. We'll shade it in the shading. Less than the green line, less than the red line, less than the blue line. This is where we're going right here. So my vertices then are 0, 0. This is an automatically first quadrant because we can't have negative of any of this, right? We have a 5, 0. We know where this crosses, right? This crosses at 5. And if you plug in a 5, then your y is 2. So 5, 2, right? We know that this is a y of 4. So if y is 4 for this red line, then x is 3. So that's 4, 3. And then we have, 3, 4. Sorry, I wrote that backwards. Then we have 4 as my y-intercept. So that's easy as well. That's 0, 4. All right. So vertices. If you have a 5-sided figure, you're going to have 5 vertices. Now, if I'm maximizing, obviously 0, 0 is going to yield 0. So that's not going to be my maximum. Then we're just going to use all of these. 0, 4, 3, 4, 5, 2, and 5, 0. And we're plugging these into our objective function here. So this is what we're trying to maximize, all right? When we plug in 0, 4, what do we get? Well, 3 times 0, 5 times 4. When we plug in 3, 4, 3 times 3, 5 times 4, all right? When we plug in 5, 2, 3, 5, and 5, 2, and 5, 0, 3 times 5, 5 times 0, all right? So which one's going to yield a maximum? Well, this guy is right here. So how do I write that? Well, we have a max is 29 tons, because that's what we were solving for, and it happens with how many of each? 3 of my 3 ton and 4 of my 5 ton. That is my answer. This one together. You run the Coca-Cola bottling plant, you receive $20 per case of regular Coke, $25 per case of vanilla Coke. The table below shows the number of machine hours and man hours needed to produce 1 case of each type. It also shows the maximum number of available hours. All right. They want me to maximize my profit, which makes sense. And they want me to list the constraints. Now, so I'm going to have 2 variables here. I'm going to have a variable for my regular Coke, right? And I'm going to have a variable for my vanilla Coke. Those are my variables there. All right. So you want to set those up. So we'll say like maybe X is going to be my regular and Y is going to be my vanilla. All right. Profit then. Well, what does my profit equation look like? 20X plus 25Y. There we go. That's my profit. Actually told you your constraints. You have constraints. It says machine hours. What are your constraints on your machine hours? The constraint is you only have 54 hours maximum, which means your regular and vanilla together have to be less than or equal to 54. And they've told you what they are. So your first constraint is going to be 3 times X plus 2 times Y is less than or equal to 54. First constraint, right? What's your second constraint? Well, people. Man hours, right? So my 4x plus my 3y is less than or equal to 75. So they gave you that chart. You literally just had to put in an x and a y and a less than or equal to, right? Your logical constraints are greater than or equal to 0, first quadrant, okay? Now, yeah, this graph that I have only goes to 10, and so you will have to go to about, what, 30 or so? Maybe like a little past. So, if I label this, I would do like maybe every 2 and still have to go, this guy down here is going to be fine. My y is going to need to go a little bit above it. Which you can set your graph up after you figure out what you need, which is fine. Oh, my little guy's in the way. My ruler was in the way. All right. $26. We'll go right above that. Close enough. All right. So, for this first one, x and y intercepts, we just make y equal to 0. So 3x is 54. What is my intercept here for this one? 18. So my x-intercept is 18. Y-intercept, we just make x 0. So we have 2y equals 54. So my y-intercept is 27. So that guy's up here. This one is down here. All right, and it's everything below it, less than or equal to, which what most of your word problems are going to be below. But every once in a while you have above, like you want to have a minimum of this. So sometimes you'll have above. All right, it's going to look like that. Okay. For my next line, for my x-intercept, set y equals 0, so 4x equals 75, right? So what's my x-intercept? It's not a nice one. Yeah, it's like 18 right there. So he's going to be about right there. And then my y-intercept, we're going to set x equal to 0. So my y-intercept is going to be that guy. All right, so he's going to be here. And we're just going to draw him. They're going to barely cross over. Now, the thing is, where it crosses is kind of important, right? So, we've got to figure out exactly, because it's below both of those. So, it's going to be here. Oh, where'd you go? No, it moved my line. Okay. It's going to be that little wedge that's underneath it. Okay, so we're only going to go up to the 25 on the y, and we're only going to go over to the 18 on the x. You don't have to use all your intercepts when you do this. As far as, I don't want you to do, some people have done this before where they use this and that, and tested it. Okay, remember it has to be in your shaded area. So when you shade this, you actually only go up to that one and you only go over to the blue one here. All right, so when you do your points, you're going to just do this one right here, 0, 0, which is obviously not going to maximize it. But then you stop here at the 18. So 18, 0, and you stop here at the 25, 0, 25. And now we just have to figure out this little guy right here, all right, which is may or may not be on a crosshairs, but you can use your elimination to figure it out. 12, 9 is the answer, but 12's here, right? And 9, I'm almost close to 9, but there's no way you're going to be able to eyeball it with graphs. You have to use one of your methods we did in the first sections, the first 2 sections, to figure it out. Because unless it's a graph like the trucking one that was, 5 across, little tiny graph where you can see right exactly where you are because you have horizontal and vertical lines, you're going to have to eliminate. And so you want to go back to that process that you did with these 2 things right here. All right. When you do that, use substitution or elimination. The only time I would use substitution if I had a y by itself or an x by itself already. All right. Any other time I would probably use elimination. So for this one, I would probably also eliminate my y's just because they're smaller and I can use smaller numbers to do it. But I would eliminate something here. So how do I eliminate? What's the process there? Yeah, I'm going to multiply them both by something. So I'll multiply the top one then by like 3 and the bottom by like -2, right? So that's going to give me 9x plus 6y equals 162. What's that? And then the bottom is going to be -8. They were nice there. X minus 6y equals negative, what? 150? Yes? Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. And then you just add down. These guys cancel. They gave us our X. They handed it right to us. That's 12. All right. So I know I'm at 12. How do I find my Y? Well, I'm going to plug it back into either one of these. All right. X is 12. So 3 times 12 is 36. 54 minus 36 is 18 divided by 2 is 9. 12, 9. All right. So you're going to have to use a method to solve for where they intersect. All right. You're going to have to use a method. Once I know where they intersect, I have my points. All right. And so at this point, I'm going to move them out the way. I am going to test. Obviously, 0, 0 is not going to give me a profit, right? 18, 0. That's going to give me what? Well, 3 times 18. 20 times 18 and 25 times 0. So that's going to be what? 360. All right. And then I have 12, 9, which gives me, I think, 465. That's what they've told me. And then 0, 25 gives me 625. What's my highest value? Well, this guy. But what does that tell me? My max profit is $625 with 0 regular and 25 vanilla. Now you may have some upset customers if you choose to do that. So there may be other options that you consider when you're making these choices. But if I'm strictly looking at profit, that's my profit.